This is my personal method to create relief holes to avoid blowouts when making a candle. I know there's lots of other different ways of doing it, but this is just the one that I found that works for me, so I thought I'd share. Tools that could be used. First method is with a wick pin, heating them with a heat gun, putting it in a small mould. Be careful with this, you probably want to use paper towels or a glove because the wick pin can get very warm. For this reason I prefer using a jewellery screwdriver heated up with a lighter. As soon as the skin's formed on top of the pillow, you poke a relief hole halfway between the wall of the pillow and the wick pin. The wax inside will sink immediately, so I like to actually do a first pour then. The main idea from here is to basically not let the relief hole set. You want to keep it molten at all times. What we're trying to achieve is that we control where air is drawn into the candle as the wax contracts. This is the method that I've found that worked for me. Not the most efficient, but I've found it to be the most effective. From here all we're doing is every 5 minutes or so, we're checking to make sure that the relief hole is staying molten. If it sinks below a centimetre or so, I will actually re-pour and refill, being very careful not to overfill. By keeping the relief hole molten at the top, what we're doing is we're creating a path of least resistance for the air to go into. We're controlling where the air pocket will be. It'll be on the top there, where we can actually refill up with wax whenever we feel the need. And I've said it before, but this is why the relief hole must stay molten at all times. This is the cornerstone of this particular method. One thing to note is that different fragrances will sink at different rates, so you keep your eye on it at all times. As you use different fragrances more often, you'll get to know which ones will sink more, which ones will sink less, which ones will sink early, which ones will sink late. For example, this fragrance that you see here is rose. It's a notorious late sinker, as all florals are, so I'll make sure that I keep the whole molten right up until the very end. The alternative method I used to use was allow the top of the relief hole to actually set, and it would still form an air pocket inside of the candle. As long as you hit the top of the air pocket, then you could fill up the air pocket with wax and fill up your relief hole, and you'd end up with a nice solid candle. The problem that I encountered was that if you actually hit the side of an air pocket, you'd end up filling up the air pocket only halfway. You'd fill up the relief hole, and you would end up with still an air pocket left within the middle of the candle. Worst case scenario, you actually drill down and completely miss your air pocket altogether. You refill your relief holes and you still end up with a massive air pocket that you didn't even touch with your relief holes. This is what I try to avoid with my method.